Hey guys, good morning and happy afternoon or good afternoon, depending on where you're at. Mario Delgadillo here out of Dallas, Texas. And today on our advanced markets training, we're going to focus on the sales cycle of what we call secure and guaranteed retirement options. Again, that is the public facing terminology that we use, secure and guaranteed retirement options. Internally, we know that this is for the fixed index annuity product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through quite a bit of information here. All of the things that I go over with you today is already up at the Google Drive with even more tools there as well that I'm not going to go over today. But it's under the FIA toolkit on the Finline Financial Google Drive. So without further ado, the first thing I want to do is give you an idea. Now, we're going to be working from a place today as if you were purchasing leads. Okay, now we can work through this process for a referral, right? We've got a couple of you guys that are serving up referrals to me right now. You're saying, hey, I've got a buddy, I've got a friend, and they have an old 401k, and we can still take them through this process. But for the sake of today's training and because it's recorded, I want to make us go through the process as if we were purchasing a lead. So first thing we want to do is we want to call the lead, right? So let's, oops, I don't have that. Let me pull up this first. We're going to walk through the script, and the script has been a little bit revamped and tweaked a bit, but this is on the Google Drive. So again, it's going to sound very familiar to what we've covered already with the infinite banking concept, because remember, we're standardizing this thing. The way that we come off, the way that we project, the way that we carry and handle ourselves, especially with these clients, guys. Okay, so remember, somebody who is a potential client for a secure and guaranteed retirement account or an annuity product, typically 9 out of 10 times is 59 and a half or older. Now, what does that mean? That means that people have the ability to roll a 401k, a 403b, a 457 if one of a few things have taken place. The first is that they're 59 and a half or older. So let's say I'm still working my job. I've been there 30 years and I become 59 and a half or older. I am free to roll over or move my retirement plan. No questions asked. The second thing that occurs is that I actually retire. So regardless of my age, if I actually retire, okay, I can roll over my account. Or number three, I change jobs. So the first two are going to primarily be older people, right? They either retire or they're 59 and a half. The third can really be anybody, right? So if you or a friend you know just got laid off or moved to a new job, the 401k you have, you do not have to roll it to the new 401k. You can put it into a secure, guaranteed retirement account. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I want you to understand who our client is. Our client is typically older. They're typically from a different generation than most of us, and they value things differently. So when you're on the phone with them, okay, a couple of things that I've learned: speak slower, speak very clear, and come off as professional as possible. But at the same time, I want you to understand, guys, if I took 10 clients, 1.5 of them have like above average knowledge of this. The majority of people have no knowledge of what's going on or very, very limited knowledge. So you don't have to come off like a know-it-all, but you do have to have confidence, right? Okay, so let's get into the script itself. So again, I don't say, hi, can I speak to Glenn, please? Right? Glenn, right? Yeah, hello. Hi, my name is Mario Delgadillo. Yeah, this is him, right? Hey there, my name is Mario Delgadillo. I'm actually following up with you because it looks like you went online and requested some information on secure and guaranteed retirement options. You completed a little short quiz. Do you remember that, sir? Oh, yeah, I do. Awesome. Well, like I said, my name is Mario Delgadillo. I'm out of Dallas, Texas. And the purpose of my call today is just get a better understanding on what you're trying to accomplish so that I can get you the appropriate information. Obviously, allow you to ask any questions that you might have as well. Fair enough? Okay, perfect. Now, before we get started, let me quickly share with you what I do for my clients. Number one is eliminate fees. And usually I throw a little piece in there. I say, as you probably know, most of your traditional 401ks and IRAs, 403bs, they've got fees embedded, so we want to eliminate those. Number two is we want to mitigate and eliminate risk. So the closer you get to retirement and or are in retirement, any type of loss mathematically can absolutely kill your retirement plan. So we want to wipe that out. Number three is to create a plan so your money outlives you. And number four is just preserve your principles. So whatever you've built up over the course of your career, we want to protect that. So Glenn, let me toss the ball over to you for a second. You know, what has you looking into different options to begin with, right? So guys, at this point, whatever they say, okay, you agree with, and you say things like, "Yep, okay, absolutely," right? That's what most of my clients are looking for, right? Oh, yep. Okay, I get it. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You're in the right place, right? You're just agreeing with them, right? Very much like we talked about before. What are we doing, right? What we're doing is we're solidifying the fact that they're in the right place, right? Right out of the gate, we're saying to them, yes, hey, listen, yeah, you're barking up the right tree, right? So once they go, but at the same time, here's one thing that I would tell you: fight the desire to start getting into the weeds with them. Well, you know, I've got a 401k and yeah, and then you start going, okay, well, how much is in that 401k? Oh, but no, fight the urge. Come back to the script, because you haven't set the table yet. You haven't talked about what differentiates you. You haven't really built any value for yourself yet. So, oh, okay, good, awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I've got a decent idea of what you're trying to accomplish. Now, sir, what's cool about working with me is that I'm an independent broker here in the state of Texas. And that means that I'm not captive to any one particular company. I have no quotas. And so I do not look out for the best interests of a company. I look out for the best interests of my clients. I mean, if I work for Fidelity, I'm going to tell you why Fidelity is the best thing around, right? Because that's all I can offer you. And that's just not the case with me. So what I've learned after helping clients as long as I have is that most people entering into retirement are looking for safety. Safety in income, safety in growth, and safety in legacy. And so that's really what I specialize in delivering to my clients. So what I'd love to do now is just introduce you to my process. It's real simple. This first phone call, what I'm going to try to do is just learn a bit more about you to create what we call a generic retirement profile. Essentially, who are you? What do you do? What does your current retirement plan sound like? Or what does your current retirement plan look like? And what are your goals? Time out. Guys, the key to this here, especially so early in the conversation, is make it feel very breezy. Make it feel like, hey, you know, I'm not trying to get under your skirt. I'm not trying to look under the hood. I don't need to know all the ins and outs, the details. It's just like a generic retirement profile. Okay. Essentially, who are you? What do you do? What's your current retirement plan, and what are your retirement goals? Okay. Now, sir, once I get that generic, and be very intentional. Once I get that generic profile created, by the way, we don't need any sensitive information from you, no account numbers or data like that. But once I have it, I can go and do my job, right? And what I do from there is take that information and go shopping on your behalf in the open market. See, I have access to over 40 different A-rated financial institutions and programs to help my clients. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a few strategies that are unique to your goals and come back to you with some numbers and ideas. We usually do that over Zoom in about the next 48 hours or so. So at this point, at that point, you'll have enough information to make an educated decision on whether or not securing guaranteed retirement accounts are for you or not. Fair enough? Perfect. All right. Well, let's start here. So if I may, I'm going to go through a generic, there's that word again, a generic list of questions to get a good grasp on where you're at regarding your current financial plan. Okay? Perfect. Time out. Now we're going to flip to the FA intake form, right? The financial needs assessment form. But before we do, I'd like to hear from some of you guys. What are your thoughts so far? How does this feel? Is this brand new to some of you guys? What are your thoughts? I just want to make sure you guys are alive.
Oh, I love that. I like it. I can do that word for word.
Good.
Not
Awesome,
steady
man.
it,
Oh,
but
this
I
is
can do
your
that.
first time. This is your first time
Oh
seeing
yeah,
it,
the
right?
first time. Oh,
Good.
hearing it. Oh, yeah, we good.
Good. Love that. Love to hear it, Tony.
Man.
Anybody else?
I like it too. I just think that it kind of takes their defense down, knowing that, we're not in it to reach a quota or anything, and we can look at several different resources for them.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, guys. Let's hear from one more.
Mario, I'll add that, then this is Glenn, I'll add that it's, very similar to what we've done in days past as far as in admissions. And so having a script to kind of give you the freedom within the framework to do what we need to do, but following this script to really get it kicked off and started is huge for me, as someone that's very brand new to the industry. So definitely like it.
Awesome. Perfect. Good, guys. All right. So I think I had somebody else post, love the flow, Orlando. Thanks, brother. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we flip over and we go through the FA intake form, which you guys have all seen, but I just want to pull it up real quick and share with you a couple of things that I've learned to kind of be mindful of when you go through this process. Damn it, I thought I had it up. Sorry, guys. Okay, here it is. Perfect. All right, so this one you'll see, and again, this is in the folder. This one says FIA on it, fixed index annuity, okay? So what I've done even in the past, and I think I shared with you guys this on the IBC as well, is I say, hey, so the purpose of this document is to help your retirement strategist, me, create a generic profile of your current financial situations. While I do not need any sensitive information like account numbers, personal data, giving as much information you feel comfortable with will help me build a real solid roadmap, okay? So a couple things. I always say, okay, so sir, I don't ask for date of birth until the end. And even that, I only do it when, and if I feel like they're comfortable enough, right? I do love this one. And so, yeah, the intro works for sure. So I'll just say, okay, so sir, you're 42 or 59 or 61, whatever it is. Cool. I usually say, are you married? Yes. Okay. Now, is your wife working, retired, or is she a homemaker? Right? She's a homemaker. Now, one question that I ask on here, again, this is an FIA. Dependents, they're 60, right? Most of the time they don't have them, but not so fast. I've seen people that are like, yeah, we have dependency over 2 of my grandkids. Or I've seen, yeah, my son is 38 years old, but he's, on the spectrum, or he's, yada, yada. So we still claim him. So you want to make sure you understand that, because that's also very important when it comes to like beneficiary purposes and legacy purposes and who's this money going to go to. So just keep that in mind. So now the next thing I do is, once I figure this out, again, a lot of it, if they're retired, there's no more years in the company. So what I do always do, just as a question, if they're retired, I say, so sir, what type of industry did you retire out of? Why is that important, do you think, guys?
To know what kind of retirement plan they have?
Yes, perfect. Glenn, you said the same thing too. So what happens is, guys, remember, a lot of times these people don't know. So if they say, I was in law enforcement. Oh, cool. And then when I'm coming down later, I'm going to think maybe it's a 457, which is deferred comp, right? Or if they say, I work for the city. Okay, maybe it's 457. I'm a teacher, right? 403B, TSP. So that's just a way that I always say, so what type of industry did you retire out of? Perfect. So now that's that. That's really all I need there, okay? And the reason we need the actual date of birth is because you can create an illustration with their age, but to get an exact illustration, you need their date of birth. You could do either one. So if If at the end of this whole phone call, they're still a little guarded, I don't even mess with date of birth. Because that's a number like, what do you need my date of birth for, right? But if by the end I've loosened them up and they're open, then I say, oh, one last thing, sir. What's your actual email address? I confirm it. And then I say, and date of birth. They usually by that time have no problem giving it to me, okay? So now the next thing I'm gonna do, client, is I'm gonna actually transition into a list of accounts that people use for retirement. Now, some of them might not apply to you, and if so, we'll just keep passing. But if you hear anything, let me know. So do you have an old 401k or a current 401k, right? Okay, what's the account value there? You know, sometimes if they're 62 and they're working still, right? Now that's an eligible account to roll. So you do have to ask, are you contributing to it, right? Do you know what that percentage is? Oh, it's 4%. Are they matching you 4%? Perfect. Now I take it one level deeper and say, do you know what that 4% looks like in an actual dollar amount per month, right? So you write all that in. Then I say, any 403Bs, TSPs, TSAs for you or your spouse? No. Okay, 457s? No. How about any IRAs, traditional Roth or SEP? No. Okay, money market accounts, CDs. Now, sometimes when somebody has a CD, you have to take it a step further and ask them, okay, do you have to keep it in there for a certain amount of time? Is it because sometimes a CD is for 6 months or a year, 5 years, right? Oh, no, I'm past that already. Cool, no problem. So you know now that that money is eligible to be moved because there's no hold on that money, right? Any investments like stocks or crypto? No? Okay. How about just cash? Do you have any savings either in your checking savings accounts? And I even throw in, or even just cash on hand at home, right? How liquid are you, right? Be careful with that one. Again, use your discernment. If these people are still a little guarded, just say savings. If they're open and free flowing, say, okay, what do you got in your checking savings and any cash on hand, right? And later on, as we do another training on suitability, I will let you know why that's important, okay? Just keep in mind, suitability is largely based on your client's access to liquid cash, okay? So any annuities, this is a key. No. How about surrender? If they say yes, are there any surrender charges? Do you know, right? How about any pensions? Okay, so you go through that, perfect. Life insurance. I don't really mess with this too much, but all the basics, ask all the questions, okay? How about properties? So in your current home you live in now, do you own it? Are you still paying down a mortgage or are you renting, right? Make sure you ask that question, because somebody who's still paying down a mortgage will just answer, no, we own it. No. Do you actually own it or are you still paying down a mortgage? Oh, no, I'm still paying down a mortgage. Cool. So what's left on the mortgage note? It's about $230,000. Perfect. What would you say the value of the house is? Last time it was about 510. So you know they have tons of equity there. Why does that matter? Because that goes into suitability, right? But not only that, to cash that they would have access to down the road, because we're going to create an actual retirement plan for them, right? So then I go into investments. Do you have any investment properties, secondary source, secondary homes, income properties, any land? Okay, what's the mortgage note on those? What's the value? Okay. Shift gears, and I'm not going to go deep dive because I want you guys to see the upgraded presentation, which is freaking fire. So I'm moving a little fast. But so now I'm going to go through two types of income scenarios for you. First, if they're working now, right? This is for if they're working now. What does income and overhead look like now? And then the second scenario we're going to go through is, what does retirement income look like? So what's your net income right now between you and your wife? It's $10,000. Always do monthly, okay? Because we're going to be dealing with monthly income. That's how they live, right? Not annual. Are you guys taking out on Social Security yet? No, so you just put check marks there. If they say yes, then you put them, right? Any pensions that you guys are earning now? Any rental income? No? Okay, cool. Now let's talk about fixed costs. And before you answer, fixed costs are your bills, right? Mortgage, rent, car notes, utilities, insurance, not gas, groceries, and entertainment, right? So what would you say your fixed cost is on a monthly basis? So what we're trying to do is say how much money you have coming in and what's your net, right? And then you see if there's any variance, right? Yesterday I had a client, he brings in about $7,500 a month and he spends 10. Right out of the gate, I was like, so you're operating in a deficit right now, right? He's like, yeah. So, whew, okay, that's a scary place to be. Okay, not working anymore. So now we're done there. So now I know what his nut is. I know what he has to cover. So then I go, okay, so now when we eliminate that net income, okay, do you know what you're going to get for Social Security? Yeah, if I get to 65, it's going to be this, and my wife is going to get that. Perfect. Are you getting any pensions? Any blah, blah, blah. And then so qualified account, all I'm doing is saying, look, at a qualified account, if you're looking at the screen, is a 401k, right? 403bs, 457s, even IRAs. So whatever the qualified ones are, remember, what are qualified? Qualified accounts are accounts that still need to be taxed. So we're going to smash all those together, and I'm going to try to find a qualified account income for you. And then if he does have cash or money market accounts or stocks, right, then we might put together a non-qualified income for you as well, okay? And he doesn't have, or if he does have a rental income, we put it there. So we're just kind of matching them up. The idea here is we're trying to close any shortfall. So if I'm bringing in 10 now and I need 4, in retirement, I'm going to bring in, let's say I'm bringing in 4 and I need 4. Well, we need to get you some breathing room, right? That's going to be that shortfall. And that's what I'm going to try to hope to do. Okay. So that's the FIA. Complete this. Now, when you're done with this, okay, we go back to the actual script. Let me find it. Sorry. And we close it off. Sorry, guys. The hell's that? All right, sorry. I have like 30 things open over here. Boom. Okay. All right. So, well, Glenn, based on our conversation, I really believe that the secure and guaranteed retirement accounts would be a really good fit for you and your family. So let's do this. Okay. I want to put some numbers together and show you some good options based on what we've talked about today, so that you have some specifics to look at. And give me a day or two to put some things together for you, and we'll circle back and we'll review those options. So I want to be clear, okay, that my 3 objectives in looking at the right strategy for you is this. Number 1 is protection against loss. Number 2 is responsible growth without risk. And number 3 is guaranteed income for life. Does that sound about right? Am I looking at this through the right lenses? Usually by this time, they're like, yes, perfect. So let me confirm some information. What's your email, date of birth, schedule the appointment? Always 48 hours later. Unless it's like Friday, right? And 48 hours is Sunday, then do it Monday, right? Shoot. Yeah, I'd always do it Monday if I'm Friday. But that's that, okay? So now when you're and it's not here, so forgive me, I just noticed that. But when you're scheduling the appointment, okay, I always tell them, I like to tell them ahead of time. So let me share with you what we're going to do, okay? Next time we meet on Zoom, there's basically 2 things I'm going to do. Number 1 is I'm going to do a fair amount of educating. I always lead from a place of education because 87% of Americans have never sat down with a professional. And I believe that if I can bring you to a place of education, you feel comfortable. And when you feel comfortable, that's when you feel confident. Because if you have 1% doubt or 1% confusion, you're out, right? You're not going to want to make this because you're going to be afraid to just make a mistake. So number 1, we're going to go through some education, okay? Number 2 is I'm actually going to give you real numbers. I'm going to show you an illustration that I'm going to email to you. And what most of my clients really love, Glenn, is that I'm going to say, hey, if you do A, B, and C, you're going to get X, Y, and Z. And a lot of people like the transparency. A lot of people really like the guarantees and the security, because where you're operating now in the market is all speculative. It's all like if the moons line up and the right president gets in and the Democrats do this and the Republicans do that, then hopefully you'll have enough. Most people are tired of that. They just want rock hard numbers. That's what I'm going to give you on Tuesday, okay? Awesome. So I confirmed the email, get a date of birth. One thing I want to share with you or show you is this is also on the Google Drive. I actually have a scheduled email template. So this is the topic or the title, Secure and Guaranteed Retirement Accounts, Zoom meeting. Okay, so I literally copy this, put it on the title, copy the other thing, put it in. So it's like, hey, Glenn, it was a pleasure speaking with you this morning. Below, you'll find the information for our Zoom, right? On and I type in Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific or Central, blah, 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 whatever, my Zoom link is already there. Copy and paste, send, right? So it's always the same. I always then say, hey, as soon as I send that email, I'm going to shoot you a text to know it's on the way. When you get it, can you just let me know that it came, right? So usually they say, okay, cool, I got it. Perfect. I've done my diligence. So we're good to go. Now, that's scheduling. Any questions before we move into the actual presentation? Any questions, anything you want to ask, any tips, anything like that? Just want to give you guys an opportunity to really just make sure you're still alive. Thank you again for those of you guys that have your cameras on. Appreciate it.
So
what are
I
your
have
thoughts?
this question. So
Yes, ma'am.
when you say about the date of birth, you don't ask for that in the beginning because they sell a lot of, how are they going to tell me about all the money they have somewhere, but they are not going to tell me about their birthday?
Because you're not asking, because a date of birth is a sensitive information. Me saying to you that I have $500,000 in an account is not sensitive. Because how are you going to get to it?
Okay. Because
You know
I
what I'm
have
saying?
people, when I ask, like, what do you have in your savings or liquidity? And they're like, why do you want to know that?
Well, I think you need to know that you're talking to the wrong type of client, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so these clients are people that have requested this type of information, and they know the type of questions that they have to ask, right? We're not talking about a client who's going to put $200 a month into an IUL, right? We're talking about a client who's sitting on $250,000 and is terrified to get a loss, right? So if they request information on ways to secure and guarantee your retirement, they've got to know that I need to know what's in your retirement to run your numbers, right? So I don't ask, did I say, oh, what account is it with? Is it with Fidelity, JP Morgan? Is it with Schwab? No, I didn't ask that, right? I didn't ask for account numbers, right? I just said, you know what the account value is? Real simple. That's generic information. But a date of birth, I can do some damage with, because I have their name, I have their email address, I have their date of birth now. I could do some damage with. So again, it's not that big a deal. Most people give me I'll tell you this much. 9 out of 10 people give it to me, no problem. I just prefer to wait to the end because I feel like they're a little bit more involved. They're a little bit more opened up. They're a little bit more comfortable by the end. So it's just the best practice. Does that make sense? Okay, good question though. Really good question. Anybody else? I love how Patty is sitting at a commencement ceremony and like staring at her phone so diligently, but also pretending like she's paying attention. I love that. Sold out right there, baby. And your camera's on. I love it. Okay, anybody else before we move forward? Okay, cool. So let's go to the new and improved presentation. I'm super pumped about this, guys. If I can find it. All right, here we go. So a lot of it is review. More than anything, just kind of like a facelift, but there are some really good new slides that I think are really good. Now, the one thing I want you guys to remember,
that's pretty. I like that.
Yeah, we're rebranding.
Design.
All of our new stuff is going to be this color scheme and this particular one. So yeah, I'm glad you like it. I really like it. Okay, so a couple things to keep in mind, guys. Number one is this. This is mentally the way I approach these presentations. I approach it like I am delivering my closing statements in the court of law. Okay. So there is a story behind this. There is a certain amount of like, cinema, if you will. Like I'm acting something out here, right? There are certain points that I want to hit so that I drive home certain things, okay? So the goal, and I usually say this, so today, right, today, Glenn, I'm going to go through some information with you, sir. Some of it might be, something that you've seen before. Some of it might be something that you're familiar with. I think some of it is not, but my goal is this. And I always say this ahead of time so they can't use it against me later in a bad way. So, sir, if I get to the end of this presentation and you think this sounds too good to be true, or you say things like, where were you 10 years ago? Right? Or how come everybody doesn't do this? Then I've done my job. Okay? See, because wouldn't you know, sometimes that's what people say, oh, this sounds too good to be true, right? And they try to use it as a bad thing. I'm saying if you say that, I did my damn job, right? I'm heading them out at the pass. I'm going after it proactively, right? If I hear you say this is so simple, this sounds too good to be true. If I hear you say, what, man, where were you 10 years ago? If I hear you say, how come everybody doesn't do this? Then I did my job, okay? Because my job is to keep it super duper simple, because Glenn, this doesn't have to be rocket science, okay? So we're gonna fly through some of this stuff pretty quickly because I know you've seen it, but some of them we'll dive deep on, okay? So first things first, our executive team, you've got myself, Maritza, and Wences Navarro. What you would want to say here is over 20 years plus information or experience in the industry, multiple millions of dollars in sales and protection of clients. And I always highlight the fact that Maritza also has a securities license. So everything you could do anywhere else, we can do it here with you as well, okay? Now, about us, right? That's the Dallas skyline because we're based out of Dallas. Our unique value proposition is that we're not captive to any one particular company, which means I have no quotas, nor am I bound to recommend specific strategies. My loyalty is to you. So I can take a holistic approach to servicing my clients, listening to what's most important to you and connecting you to the right product and company. So we provide strategic and dedicated retirement planning and asset protection for everyday people. These are some of our partnering companies. As I said, I have access to over 50 different carriers. So we're going to look at the right company, the right product, the right strategy, and the right index. There's over 700 indexes, sir. So my job is to go find the right one for you, not because I'm loyal to a company, but I'm trying to find the right thing for you because I'm loyal to you. Now, before we move forward, sir, here's a new thing too. I kind of reworded this. There are 3 retirement killers that we need to avoid. So there's 3 things that will kill your retirement plan. And so at all costs, whether you go with me here today or not, you need to avoid this. Number 1 is market volatility. Number 2 is inflation. And number 3 is taxation and compounding fees, okay? There's the damn, I don't know what that is. I say this every time. Can somebody please, because I never remember, can somebody Google how to get rid of this stupid effects on your Zoom and call me and help me out? Good God, I can't stand it. All right, so so what I say here is, so these 3 retirement killers are what we're gonna avoid. I'm going to share with you a strategy that essentially eliminates those 3 killers, okay? So I'm going to make reference to them throughout the presentation. So 4 pillars to retirement investing. We've seen these 3 ways to grow your money: power of compounding interest, losses and gains in the market, understanding taxes and fees. So first one, right? Generally speaking, sir, there are 3 ways to grow your money. First is fixed. You're going to get a 2.5%, 3%, 4%, 5% fixed rate no matter what, come hell or high water. Okay. And that's really good when the market is down because you're going to get a couple points, but when the market's up, you're losing, right? Because you're stuck, right? Variable is where 80% plus of Americans are. That means that your money's in the market. When the market goes up, you make money. When the market goes down, you lose money because all your 401ks, 401 IRAs, 403bs, they're in the variable. And guys, I'm moving real fast because I want to get through this for you guys. And then index is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. Couple of things about indexing, and this is very important, especially because of who our client is. Indexing is not to be confused with an index fund. See, an index fund is just a different type of variable account. Indexing, as it pertains to what we're going to talk about today, and this is key, write this down, sir. It's an interest crediting strategy. It's a way you earn interest, okay? And we earn this interest using indexing in the insurance industry. It's exclusive to the insurance industry, okay? So what I'm going to share with you here, sir, is I'm a big fan of comparing apples to apples, right? So this is a 20-year look back on the S&P 500, okay? And this shows you that in 1999, if you had $100,000 in a variable account, right? Remember, it goes down when the market goes down, up when the market goes up. It shows that right here, boom, in 2002, you would have dropped down to 59, fought your way back up to 99, and we all remember 2008, okay? Over the course of the next few years, you tapped out at 219. Ultimately, in 2021, you would have you'd be at 168,000. So from 100 to 68,000 over 21 years. Okay, that's just the ups and downs in a variable market. Now let's compare apples to apples. What say you started with 100,000 in an account that was indexing? Remember, sir, what is indexing? We only go up, we never go down. So it's up and plateau, grow and plateau. Where would you be in 2021? Well, very, very different place. And all I want you to do, sir, is notice that every single time the variable dropped, the index held. Every time the variable went up, the index went up, right? Ultimately, when you eliminate loss over the same 21-year period, you end up at 344,000 or 168,000, right? This is just numbers. This is just math. This is not tomfoolery or any type of trickery. This is why it's so important for you to eliminate loss from here going forward, okay? Now, let's talk about losses and gains in the market. We all know this one. Let's say you had 100 grand in the market in a variable account. Market goes down by 25%. Now you have $75,000 in that account, right? Well, let's say the market goes back up 25% next year. Did you make your money back? So this year dropped 25, next year grew 25. Are you back at 100? The answer is no, okay? You need 33% growth to make 75,000, 100,000. And what we're trying to drive home here, guys, is that when you lose, you need to grow back and then some. You need a little bit more growth to get back to where you were before, okay? So again, slide we've seen before. This is a new verbiage, okay? Because remember, by the way, guys, let me move back. Remember I told you there's 3 things that kill retirement strategies? The first was market volatility. These slides here, okay, are illustrating that market volatility can kill your retirement, okay? The second slide here is going to be to show what freaking balloons, to show why, okay, inflation can kill you and how you can fight against it, right? So the secret, stop laughing, Amber, damn you. The secret to fighting inflation, right, is understanding how to use compound interest in your favor, right? And the way we do that is the rule of 72. So Glenn, have you ever heard of the rule of 72? No. Okay, well, the rule of 72 says basically this. Based on the interest rate you're earning in a particular account, what we do is we divide it by 72, right? And that's going to give us the amount of years it takes to double your money, right? So if you were earning 1% in a savings account, right, at your bank, take 72 divided by 1 comes out to 72 years. So your 10 grand in a savings account would take 72 years to get to 20. If you were earning 4%, 72 divided by 4 comes out to 18, right? That means that 10 grand is going to double every 18 years, and at 72 years, you're at 160. That's a lot better, right? 6% means your money's going to double every 12 years. So at year 1, that 10 grand will turn into $640,000 at 72 years. And then 12%, right? Your money's going to double at 12%. Your money doubles every 6 years, and it's $40.9 million. So the key to fighting against inflation is to use compound interest. The one thing that you want to drive home right here is this, sir. The one thing that people don't, even people who know the rule of 72, the thing that they don't grasp all the time is that we're eliminating loss, right? So I take 10 to 20 to 40 to 80, not 10 to 11 to 9 to 13 to 7 to 20 to 15. It's always growth on top of growth. The only way to truly take advantage of all the power of compounding interest is to eliminate loss. And the only way to eliminate loss while not eliminating growth is indexing, because you can eliminate loss with a fixed account, but you also eliminate your growth opportunities because you're fixed at a rate. Right? So that's one thing there. Then we talk about Mr. Einstein's quote on compounding interest. We're going to keep moving. Fees, we've talked about this before, right? If you're putting $300 a month into a account, you're earning 8% growth, and it's compounding for 35 years. If you're getting charged no fees, you would have $669,000 in your account. If you're being charged 0.95%, okay, you'd only have $529,000 to retire on because you would have paid $140,000 in fees. At 2%, you'd only have $410,000 to retire on because you would have paid $259,000 in fees. And at 3%, you would actually pay more in fees than you have to retire. Here's the reason why. Fees compound. Just like interest compounds, fees compound. So by the way, sir, I'm about to show you something that has zero fees, zero charges. So you're going to be able to operate in this category, okay? So now, what my recommendation is going to be is called a fixed index annuity, FIA, and this is exclusive to the insurance industry. So you might have seen annuities before, but they're under the banking realm. This is under the insurance umbrella. So what's an FIA? It's a financial instrument issued and backed by an insurance company that provides protection, growth, and retirement. I'm moving fast because you guys have seen this. An FIA is not an insurance policy, even though it's issued by the insurance company, just another product that they offer. An FIA is not an investment because your money is no longer in the market. That cash is going to be in a cash account, kind of like a CD, right? And the FIA is very much like a promise to pay contract between you, the client, and the insurance company. So it's kind of like this. So, Mr. Insurance Company, I've got $200,000 and I'm thinking about putting it in your vaults. If I do, what type of benefits are you going to give me? First of all, they're going to give you a guarantee against loss. Number two, they're going to allow you to swing for the fences with growth because they're going to give you the indexing crediting system, okay, right? Indexing. Number three, no fees or charges. So it's designed to provide income through a process of protection, accumulation, and annuitization. But let's close the door here. At the very beginning, I said to you, there's three things that kill your retirement strategy. We have to figure out a way to eliminate those, okay? Well, the first one was market volatility. So if I protect you against loss, I've now eliminated that threat. The second was inflation, right? Well, if we're using the indexing system, right, then we're at least keeping pace with it. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show you how we leverage bonuses to outpace inflation. And then number three, there's no fees, right? Unfortunately, we can't get around taxes. And if there was a way to do it, we'd probably be wearing orange. That's usually my standard corny joke every presentation. And I don't look very good in orange. So that said, let's talk about safety. This is a new slide. And this is a freaking powerful slide, guys. Safety is our top priority here with Finline, okay? So number one, listen, there's two ways that there's one way that the banking system protects your money, and there's a way that the insurance industry protects your money. This is called fractional reserve banking, which basically means this. For every, the banks have to keep a 10% reserve for every dollar they have in deposits. So if you put $1 in the bank by law, they have to keep a dime. Okay. Well, the insurance industry has a dollar for dollar guarantee. So they have $1 in reserve for every dollar they guarantee. Glenn, what sounds safer to you? Right? Well, okay. Well, let me share with you why the reserve side is very, very sketchy, right? So in 2020, most people don't know this, but reserves were dissolved, okay? Safety is misspelled. Thanks. I was flying here. Thank you. In 2020, the reserves were dissolved because of COVID. So the government said, you don't have to keep 10%. Go and spend it, go invest it, do whatever you need to do to keep the doors open. And it wasn't until 2022 that the government recommended that the reserves be replenished, right? Well, in 2023, 5 banks failed, 2 of which were Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank, and they went down because their reserves were gone and people came calling on their money. Imagine, Glenn, you have $300,000 here. What kind of feeling would it feel like? You know, what would it feel like to call your bank and say, hey, you know, I'm going to roll this money out and it's not there, right? So now let's talk about the state guaranteed fund. Compared to commercial banks and investment firms, life insurance companies' solvency record has been flawless, even during economic times, hard economic times. A large percentage of life insurance companies have been around for over 100 years. And in 2008, 465 banks went under, while only one insurance company came close. That was AIG, okay? So when you want to compare apples to apples, the choice is very clear. Now, don't trust my word for it, though. Why don't you ask the banks what they do? See, because they do what is called BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. The banks were investing billions and billions and billions of dollars into the insurance companies. And here it is. I can send you this link. Okay. In 2023 alone, Bank of America put in $24 billion. Okay. Wells Fargo, 18 billion. So my question is this, check this out. In 2003, all of them combined, the banks invested trillions of dollars in the life insurance industry. In fact, they were doing so much investing and getting such a high return that the government stepped in and created restrictions. So my question is this, if your bank and mine were getting such high returns investing into the life insurance industry that they had to get restricted, why don't we know about it? How come they haven't told us, right? Simple, because they use your money to invest and get ridiculous returns, and they don't give you anything. Typically, guys, when I'm sharing this part of the presentation is when I say, guys, sometimes people ask me, Mario, how do you use the insurance industry to protect people's retirement and create retirement income? I go, simple. I take my clients around the banks directly to the insurance company, and I cut out the middleman, okay? So that's that. That's our presentation. I tried to get through. We got 5 minutes. Now, before we finish there, I just want to let you know. So at this point of the presentation, I say to them, hey, so listen, what do you like most about what we've covered? Because I'm going to go through some numbers with you next, but I just want to know what grabbed you, right? Why do we do that? Why do we do the, hey, what grabbed you most question?
I mean, my assumption, Mario, would be that, to gain, to see their buy-in, see where they're at, what questions they have, what they understood, what they didn't understand, so we can kind of get that addressed and attack it right then and there.
Yeah, so you're gauging if they're comprehending, right? Gauging if they're following through. What else?
That's right.
You just mainly focus on the positive points. You have them focus on what they did like versus, obviously if they have questions, it's they can just ask, but you just focus on the positive.
Okay. What else? And yeah, I thought I seen you trying to talk, but I can't hear you.
You want to make sure they understand the value. I mean, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So just like Glenn was saying, you want to make sure they're engaged, but at the same time, you want to make sure they understand the value, because we can summarize all that. But of course, are they going to understand all of it? But at the end of the day, we want to make sure they understand the main points. So that's one of the main reasons you go through all this. And also, like I said, you want to make sure they engage, have the value, make sure they make the right executive decision to move forward.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. All of that is true. All of that is correct. What I was looking for was this. When you ask them, what do you like most? You're getting them to sell you, right? You're getting them to verbalize what they liked about it. But not only that, the next step is for me to go through the illustration with them. And I'm going to present it in such a way that is focused on the things that they like. If they really like security, man, I just love the fact that you can't lose. Man, me too. It's what most of my clients like. I always agree. Whatever they say, I agree. Whatever they say, that's most of my clients love that, right? Now, then when I go through the illustration, I am presenting this illustration to them in such a way where, hold on. I'm presenting this illustration to them in such a way where it's like everything is going to be looking at it from a perspective of somebody who likes security, right? If they say, I like the bonuses, I love the fact that I can grow, then I'm going to present the illustration in such a way where we're going to be looking at everything from a growth perspective. Every now and again, you'll get this answer. And then if you got this answer, somebody tell me what you would think. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of information, it's good. It's a lot of information. What would you say that person is thinking if you heard that?
That they're lost.
Yeah, they might be lost.
That maybe he was confused, that he didn't get a good grasp of like all the information. Like, yeah, it was good, but I'm still unknown, like an unknown.
Okay, so same as that. So they're lost. What else?
They might be skeptical. She'll have some concerns, some fear. They're not 100% in.
Yeah.
They don't trust
Yeah,
you
that,
yet?
yeah, probably. It's probably all the above. The idea here is think about this, guys. I don't think it's lost just based on my experience of helping clients because the presentation is so simple, right? And I flew through it today, but the presentation I did usually, by the way, the presentation should take you about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay. If you're going faster, then slow your balls down. If you're taking too long, then speed it up because you still have to go through the illustration. But yeah, usually take about 40, 45 minutes just as a gauge. And if you keep that pace, it's very simple. It's not rocket science, right? We're teaching them some philosophies, right? And you're getting there. Usually, to my experience, it's not that they're lost. It's either A, they're still guarded. I think it's maybe like the trust thing, right? Because they've been taken advantage of in the past, or I just met you on the internet, like what I mean. It's usually that there's still some trust things there, right? Or they're just trying to be a poker face. They're just trying to like not show their tell, which I don't think it necessarily is. It just means this. When I hear that, guys, in the back of my mind, I know I have some work to do still, right? And I know I have to be very careful about how I progress moving forward. Okay, so there are some more things that we can do. We can actually do a training where I show you how to present the illustration, and we will. But for time purposes, there's just one more thing I want to show you, and then we'll do some very quick takeaways, and we'll have you off. I like to be a respecter of everybody's time. All right. So once we're done, we go through the questions, we go through the illustration. So listen, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to send you an email. Okay. So I schedule a call back in 48 hours. Okay. And internally, this call we call as an application review. Right. So we're going to review whether or not we're going to go through the application. We go over any questions, but that's the purpose. Internally, that's the purpose. We want to get that application. Okay. So I tell the sir, Glenn, we're not even going to discuss like decisions today. We went through a lot of information. Okay. And I want to get it to you, but I'm going to send you an email. Okay. And this email, let me set it up for you. In the body of the email, there's going to be a very simplified summary of what we covered. And this is it. You guys should see it. Hey, Glenn, per our conversation today, attached you'll find an illustration and brochures that I'm recommending for your retirement plan. Your funds will be placed into a fixed index annuity, FIA, specifically set up to grow your money responsibly without the risk due to market downturn. Remember, this is accomplished because you'll be using the indexing crediting strategy. When the market goes up, you earn. When the market goes down, you retain your value. Important to note, at the bottom of this email, I've provided my license number to the state of Texas and a link to the Department of Insurance to verify my information, if you like. I proactively provide this so that you feel comfortable and confident in my ability to serve you. Additionally, if you like, I've provided a list of clients that would be happy to chat with you about their experience with me. Feel free to reach out via phone call or text message, ask away. Okay. Please review the attached information and write down any questions that you may have. I look forward to our next appointment. I type it in. We will get your application completed so that we can gain your approval. That's a little breadcrumb. You have to get your own references. Okay. Don't use mine. They'll tell me these are all good friends of mine now. Okay. But what I say is, so in the body of the email, I'm going to give you a very simplified summary of what we went over. Okay. Because I know we went over a lot of information. I'm also going to attach a brochure that's like a PDF breakdown of F&G on the company. I'm also going to attach a PDF of the Power Accumulator as a product. And then I'm also going to attach the illustration that we talked about. Okay. So I send this to them, right? The title, I should write it in here, but I don't. Oops. I always say the same thing. F&G, information and illustrations. Okay. That's the title of the email. I always use the same one. And then inside it's that. Okay. So we schedule it for 2 days out, and here we are. So now we've taken you through from getting a lead, scheduling the appointment, sending the email to schedule the appointment. Now we're at the presentation, presenting the information. Then we go and we send them the closing email, and we have an appointment scheduled in 48 hours to talk, right? The one thing that I would say before I go around, Robin, is this. Sometimes you'll get somebody be like, well, I don't know, maybe give me about a week. No, sir, it doesn't really work that way. And here's the reason why. you're gonna have some questions because I provided you a lot of information. Again, and if that's the person like, oh, give me a week to review this, you know they're not ready. Okay, so it's okay to say, sir, I'm not trying to get an answer from you next time. It's just like a 48-hour touch base because you're gonna have questions. It's a lot. I'm gonna send you like 70 pages worth of information. Okay, so let's just touch base. Matter of fact, if 2 days is fine, let's do 4 days. Right, I'll bump it out 2 more days. Now I know, again, I've got some more work to do, okay? So that said, guys, let me stop the training and then we'll just do a quick takeaway round robin and we're done.